Welcome back. This is News in Focus. My name is Faraz Patel. We'd like to thank you, the viewer, Jazakallah, for you to staying with us here. Now, yesterday in a News 24 article, it was revealed that a 22-year-old man from Sandton named Aaron Bayhack had been accused of despicable war crimes against the Palestinian people. Now, in a scathing documentary by Qatari broadcaster Al Jazeera, Bayhack was revealed to be part of an elite Israeli sniper unit that executed civilians in Khan Yunis and Gaza City. Now, this comes on the back of last year, where DIRCO expressed deep worry over allegations that certain South African citizens and permanent residents had joined or contemplated joining the Israeli occupation forces. Joining us now to unpack this from a legal perspective, especially discussing the Foreign Military Assistance Act, I'd like to welcome attorney at law Yousha Tayob. Yousha, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah so much for joining us.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now, Yousha, I want to touch on this Foreign Military Assistance Act. There's a certain clause within, obviously, legislation, within the Constitution, that permits residents, permanent residents of South Africa from fighting for other countries. Talk to us about that, please, and just the implications with regards to that.
So, yeah, you're quite correct. I mean, the Foreign Military Assistance Act makes provision for individuals who wish to apply to assist foreign militaries in the way specified in the Act to make application to the minister for that to happen. But there is, as far as we know, no such applications by anyone in this country to date. And so anyone who is certainly falling foul of the provision. So the Act says that anyone, in terms of Section 5, may apply for the approval for rendering foreign military assistance, and it sets out the procedure. It's legislation, it's boring reading. But in essence, you have to make a written application to the minister. The minister then considers the application and either rejects it or grants it. I personally am not aware of any applications that have been submitted at all. So I doubt the ministers either accepted or rejected any, because we know of no applications in matters where we've written to the ministry asking whether there are any such applications.
Yousha, now I want to come to the National Convention's Arms Control Committee, because a part of it is that any person wishing to render foreign military assistance in Israel must apply for the NCAC. And any person who joins the IOF without necessary permission is breaking the law and can be prosecuted. So talk to us about the NCAC and just how important that is, especially in cases like this.
Yeah, so look, I mean, in essence, it's tied into the legislation. You have the Foreign Military Assistance Act, which sets out the procedure by which you must do it. The NCAC will consider the application in accordance with the relevant department. We also have the Prohibition of Mercenary Activities Act, which has similar provisions. And so what it really entails for us is that if anybody does want to assist a foreign military, a country at war, and those kind of activities, financially, economically, physically, they have to make application in terms of the Foreign Military Assistance Act. That is considered by the minister in conjunction with the NCAC, and the application is either accepted or rejected. And like I said to you, in letters that we've written to the ministry, we have no confirmation of any applications that have been made, let alone accepted or rejected.
Yousha, in a situation like this, right, Bayhack, for example, is 22 years old. He went to school here in King David in Johannesburg. If it turns around, because there's been this discussion that he may have gotten a dual citizenship, and that dual citizenship, of course, would be an Israeli one at that. How does that work? Because can he, for example, or his legal representatives, should he come back to South Africa, turn around and say, well, I've got Israeli citizenship, you can't really prosecute me? Talk to us about that, and how does that imply especially at a time where genocide is being perpetrated in Gaza?
No, so look, I don't think the dual nationality affects it all. He remains a South African citizen. He's subject to the laws of South Africa. He's prosecutable in terms of it. And historically for us, I don't know to what extent people are aware that we've been making these noises since Operation Cast led in 2008. And as matters currently stand, we're seeing a lot of words from government, but we're not seeing any action. And that's the troublesome part, is that the impunity doesn't only extend to Israel and America. It seems to extend to Jews in South Africa as well. There appears to be a complete inactivity in regard to a number. Bayhack is now the newest one from yesterday, but there are certainly others against whom reports have been made. And there's a definite laxity, both from the Hawks and captains in the Hawks who are simply not responding to communications, and definitely a silence from the NPA in what they want to do. So the dual nationality I'm not concerned about. My concern is the inactivity of this government in its words and its actions, which are not matching each other.
Yeah, I want to touch on that, with regards to the NPA, because there seems to be, like you say, a bit of a lackluster approach with regards to that. What is it? I mean, and I'm sure you're not alone. You're joining a whole host of different, legal minds that are asking the NPA, look, there has to be some sort of action taken with regards to this. So what does the NPA then need to do in order to make sure that these prosecutions are done in a speedily manner when, of course, these citizens are going to fight in the Gaza genocide, and there seems to be a lack of impunity with regards to that?
It gets worse. So before a matter gets to the prosecutor, it gets to the police to investigate. So even though you engage a prosecutor, they appoint an investigating officer or officers. And I can tell you that since 2008, we reported in particular the Norwood Police Station and the Sandringham Police Station being used as bases to train for potential soldiers being exported to Israel since that time. And we have had absolutely no response. Complete inaction by the police, not even a questioning of the named suspects. Currently, you have a matter where another attorney has already established substantial evidence in the Western Cape, and it's at a very advanced stage where you are actually placing South African individuals in the war, in full uniform, committing the genocide. And nothing's happening. I don't know how much more evidence we need to present to the state. But we've done everything we possibly can. Why there's a delay doesn't make sense. The investigating officer in our matter regarding South Africans participating in the Foreign Military Assistance Act has had over 20 letters from me without a single response. The captain fobs off onto the advocate at the PCLU unit. The PCLU unit advocate instructs so I'm playing musical chairs at the moment. We don't seem to be getting anywhere despite ministerial instructions to the contrary, despite South Africa being the major proponent in the ICJ, ICC referrals. The action's not happening. It's just words at the moment. And, a long time ago when we lodged the Gaza docket, we were told that there is no political will, and that seems to be the case. So without the political will, we've had this extensive difficulty of double speak. Close the Israeli embassy, or call the ambassador back, but continue economic and trade relations. So this double speak, this duality of double standard, of the world doesn't seem to. It seems to be affecting South Africa as well. So there's this. It just doesn't make sense because you make all the noises, but you're not willing on the follow through. So this has been our difficulty with this government and the double speak, so to say. Yeah.
Yousha, I've got 1 minute, and I want to touch on the ICJ case. And here's a classical example of South Africa taking Israel to the ICJ, but then you've got citizens within our very own country that are fighting for Israel and are committing these war crimes. I mean, there's another head scratcher in terms of a contradiction, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the double standard. I mean, it can get substantially more extreme than that, where we in fact allow an organization like the South African Zionist Federation to even exist in this country, considering South Africa's history. So, it's something I've always complained about, that Nelson Mandela forgot about, is banning that organization. Zionism is apartheid is Zionism. And yet, it's just a contradiction for us. It doesn't make sense, man. It just doesn't make sense. The double speak is very worrying.
Yousha, Jazakallah so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV. Much appreciated. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That's Attorney at Law Yousha Tayob. And of course, this is a definite story that we will be following as it continues to progress. After the break, Nobel Peace Prize, there was a press conference that happened at the United Nations. We'll be having more of that after this break.